Welcome back, everyone, to another Titan Esports interview. This time, we're looking at the Titan Eternal League with Summit Esports Nebula Destroyers, top laner Gawr and jungler Blob. Say what's up to everyone today.
Hello, Titan people. I am very washed. Do not look at me. I'm not the Apex player. Smile.
Yo, what's good? How you guys doing?
Hopefully they're doing pretty well. I'm glad you guys are here. Thanks for taking the time. I want to, just off rip, I want to ask you guys about your in-game names as well, because I looked at your team. Your mid laner's name is Uwu Side Hotline. Like, for a play-by-play caster like myself, this is like a nightmare. I'm going into a play-by-play call and I gotta say these names. I just want to ask you guys, how did you guys come upon naming yourselves and getting your in-game names? What is the story behind
that? You can go first, Blob, because I have a story.
So mine is a little different. I started playing League in EU and I was named Stone Giraffe. I had an NA account with the same name and couldn't remember it when I moved over here. So I just put Blob Blob, and fish make the Blob Blob noise, so I just went Blob Blob Fish and it's kind of stuck. And then I fused the Blob Blob with the giraffe after.
Nice. How about you, Gar?
Yours has some nostalgia factor to it, bro. Mine's nothing like that. Okay. I will say I have a couple different name iterations. I started with the account called Rice Lover because my friend named it that and I took his account. And then for like 3 years straight, we had the Asian Invasion. Right up until the Riot accounts switch happened, where everyone got to choose their own names or whatever.
Yeah. So,
because I am a total weeb, I decided, hey, I will name myself after a VTuber. And one of the most popular VTubers right now is Gargura, so I decided to go off of a nickname of hers, Gargoomba. And that is how my name comes to play.
Hell yeah. I love getting the inside scoop on the lore of the names, because some of the names are just, your guys' names are awesome, so I had to ask that. And now we'll talk a little bit more about you guys. What is what is the relationship between you two? Is this your first time playing together on a team? And then what's the relationship you guys have with your teammates as well? Just, is there any history there? Is this your guys' first time playing with each other? How does that all work?
Okay, I can leave with this one. So I don't know any of these players, I'm gonna be real. The first time I met Blob Blob was actually through Blue Water and we played against each other.
Oh, nice.
But with our organization Summit, Blob was playing with a bunch of other Summit members. And so I got to know him through that, and he eventually ended up subbing for one of my other comp teams. I believe the other players come from the SDC League. Yeah, the Seasonal Draft Championship League, and they were brought in by one of our organizers for our pre-made teams. And so that is at least how I met everyone.
For me, other than what Gar just explained about us meeting, I knew none of the other players except for our support. I used to actually coach our support on a previous team, and then we were on the same Blue Water draft when we played against Gar. We ended up winning it all, and then when the Summit tryouts were getting formed, I kind of pulled him over. I was like, yo, try out for this. But our mid and ADC we didn't know before the tryouts. I think I saw them at a different tryout, but that's the extent. But yeah.
And your mid and ADC, that kind of leads me to my next question. Talk about them. So again, like I mentioned before, I'll just call them Uwu, but Uwu Side Hotline, that's a crazy name. And Comet, these two players, obviously you guys are a really strong team, we'll get into that soon as well. But what's it like playing with these two who can have these really pop-off performances from time to time? Sometimes you're going off in the top lane, Gar, sometimes you're having good games as well, Blob. But Uwu and Comet really seem to have a lot of good performances that seem to be two major carries for the team. So what's it like playing with those two players?
For me, I mean, it's quite relieving. I'm not a primary jungle, so having strong carries that I can rely on is pretty hefty. And I just facilitate what I can, whatever comes to mind, sort of thing for the team comp. It's just kind of best case scenario for me because I don't need to overstrain myself, try like super carry from a jungle role when I'm off role. So yeah, it's quite relieving and just feels good overall for a team balance.
I 100% agree with that. It definitely, at the very least, with how coin flippy I like to be top lane, it's very nice to have two players I can count on to at least pull back on the chains a little bit to make sure that we can play for late game. Kind of like how it happened last game. There was a point where we were kind of concerned about, or 2 series ago, sorry. We definitely had to play a lot more conservative just because of how volatile the game was. So at least having those two be our fallback win conditions is very nice for how we want to play out the rest of this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's always something nice to have is carries that are going to be that backbone of the team there, or at least deal the damage they need to do. So you guys are 6-1. You finished first in your group. That's Group B in the Eternal League. What's been the main reason why you guys have had, and we've kind of touched on this a little bit with, some strong teammates, but what do you guys think is maybe another big reason why this team as a whole has had so much success? Why have you guys been better than the other teams in this league?
Ooh. That's a good question, actually. I think it helps at least having a team identity for how we want to play our drafts. At the very least, we always have some sort of combination going that we haven't really strayed from. And that combination has been working well for every single game outside of the one series that we did end up losing, which was against Elysium Lopanese. But we learned from that, and we started building out our comps a lot more, focusing on hyper carry ADC, either control or burst mage mid. We have a bruiser or tank jungle, and then we have whatever the heck I want to play top lane. I'm gonna be real, but no, it's been working well, and it really helps that at the very least 2 out of these 3 lanes are always stronger compared to our counterparts. So at least that's what I want to believe is our main strength compared to the rest of the teams. It's just that we have really good lanes, and the way that we play our comps out are usually stronger compared to other teams.
For me, I think there's a lot of external stuff not in the game that helps a lot too. We have pretty good scouting overall, and we discuss everything. We're also not shy to like call each other out and have an open discussion if something's off. Like, we don't just let it sit and bubble over sort of thing. We will bring it up and we will discuss it. And I think that helps get us all on the same page. We're also all quite vocal in game as well. Like, it's not just one person making calls and then people disagreeing with it after. Like, everyone gets involved. If a call is bad, like, someone calls it off and stuff like that. So we just bounce off each other really well, and our champion pools kind of like just synergize together really strong in game.
So you talked about external stuff. Do you guys have a coaching staff?
Yes. At least with the way that we're running our first year for our Summit Pre-Made teams, we have one assigned manager/coach. And generally after every scrim and match, we basically sit down for like at least an hour or 2 for just general VOD review, making sure that everyone gets their notes down, and go over what went well, go over what could be worked on, go over what we need to fix. And I think over the course of the season so far, it's definitely helped a lot.
Yeah, shout out Mid to Easy. I don't know about everyone else, but I've also had some like personalized jungle coaching from other sources. Player called Morn, player called Ready. They've helped me progress because I was probably the furthest declined in my role from swapping over from mid. So they really helped get me up to pace and be on the same level and be able to actually offer something to the team.
You said the name Morn?
Yes.
Is that someone that plays in Titan as well, and maybe like Immortal or something? I swear I know.
He's on Wawas.
On Summit Wawas.
Summit Wawa, that's where I know that name. Okay, cool. That's really interesting that you get kind of that's awesome. And that extra work that you guys put in with coaches, whether it's individual or VOD reviews and stuff, I mean, that pays off, and you can see it with your guys' results. So you kind of hinted at the match that you guys lost there, Gar, against Elysium Low Punny. Would you guys, you guys are on opposite sides of the playoff bracket, which we'll talk about later, but would you guys like to face them again? Do you guys have that lust for like the vengeance to get back at them, or is that just kind of like that ship has sailed and it's in the past?
I'm gonna start on this one. I'd like to play them again. I had COVID during that week, so I was not communicating the same level. I think the game's completely different next time we play. I think we've all progressed and we're stronger together as a team.
Yeah, this is one of the series where we definitely sat for at least 2 hours going over. I think we kind of know how to play against that team now. Which, by the way, Eli Chaser, you were still getting that Sivir. We are gonna beat it that way. But no, we definitely have a way. We definitely have a much better understanding of how we can punish the way that they want to play that. And I do want to play against them just to test that, because I feel like that team is the only one team that I've noticed that plays the exact way that they want to. And because we didn't have a lot of practice in our pool like that, if we're able to overcome them, I don't think there's a single team that could beat us.
And so they play on the other side of the bracket, Elysium Low Punny that is, and they play against Monkey's Boom first round. And now I want to talk about your series that we talked about a little bit before we actually went live with this interview against Monkey's Boom, which turned out to be the tiebreaker for first. Now, you guys won that series 2-1, which means you finished first. I want you guys to take me through that series just because of how close it was and the actual stakes that it had. I think every single game went over 30 minutes, and then it looked like to me, based on the match history, Game 3 went 47 minutes. So whether it was Game 2, Game 3, one of the games went 47 minutes. Take me through that roller coaster of a game, or of a series, rather.
You want to do it, Blob? Otherwise, I will yap.
So, I mean, game 1, pretty straightforward. We executed what our comp wanted to do. We were kind of pacing ourselves, maybe made a few misplays, but we made sure to try close it out cleanly. Game 2, I can't fully remember. I think the AP Mage bot kind of threw us off a little bit, and we weren't fully synced up. So we kind of slapped ourselves on that one. We should have honestly 2-0'd, like we had the lead there and threw it. Game 3, I mean, it just lasted forever. They had a good scaling comp, and if we gave like a single inch, they got a lot, sort of thing, because they had Jinx resets and stuff. So we kind of misplayed it a little bit, and then when we actually started clicking and saying this is what we need to do, we started closing out, and eventually we just pulled off exactly what we needed in the team fights.
I'll say this from my point of view. Instrument's pool was completely screwed into what I could counterpick. So, at the very least, we knew that he was basically like a Cassiopeia Gnar player. And because of that, first game we banned Gnar because I didn't want to deal with it, and we knew that he would want to get his Cassiopeia game in. Mundo kind of just steps over her after a certain point, and I just wanted to make sure I played for that while Blob plays for the rest of the lanes, because I'm not going to do anything against Cass early. And depending on whether or not you saw through that game, like, you just see me side laning for the first like 27 minutes before I finally joined a team fight near the very end. And because I just was able to scale, like, we get to zone off them from Baron, and then we just end the game off of a really good catch. Game 2, I do agree we probably could have been able to 2-0, but there were a lot of mistakes that we made throughout the mid game that definitely didn't help with the lead that we had. And Monkey's Booms were able to recognize that and punish us for it. And even though we've had like a pretty solid understanding of what we wanted to play for early, our plans just started falling apart with like lane assignments, being able to get to objectives, and just overall, low-key Allfire's Lux is kind of crazy and I hate it. Please ban it next time. But yeah, they played it out really well, and I think if we were to look back into that game too, I don't think that would have ever happened. And you can certainly tell because of the game time going up to 47 minutes that the stakes were really high. But luckily our Swain got super far ahead, and I was able to just side lane against a Cassante for most of the game. Rest in peace Instrument. Playing Cassante blind into Garen is not fun.
Yeah.
But we were on a timer just on how Jinx was getting really strong, and thankfully to a good catch from our support Seeker down the mid towers, we were able to kill the Jinx first, and everything collapsed from there.
Yeah, and it was close, but you guys got the win, and so here you are now looking ahead to playoffs. You got that first seed. You guys are playing against Mint Crashouts from Group A. Have you guys done your scouting homework on Mint Crashouts yet? What do you guys think of that team?
You want to start with that one?
We're in the works of doing our scouting.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've seen like match results from prior ones. I've got a decent idea of how they play. With the addition of Pum in the jungle, their roster gets stronger. But we also have already played against Pum and beat him out 2-0. I think like when we get our scouting and then when we get into the game, we'll be a lot more focused, and we do have all the tools we need. Their drafts look very similar across each game. They're not bad drafts at all, but they do seem to target the same sort of pools, same sort of like play style. And I think we'll just be able to run away with it as long as we capitalize on how their pool plays.
You're in agreement then, Gar?
Yeah, I done my scouting. I think this top laner is definitely gonna fist fight me a lot, just depending on what he wants to pick. He is also a filthy mage abuser top lane, so maybe not. Yeah, he plays Kennen and Aurora. It's gonna be a little bit of a rough one, but at the very least, with the information that we have, I feel like we have a lot of good answers into them. So it really just depends on how we execute it from that point. As Blob said, we have played against Boom, and we were pretty solid against them. So hopefully that carries over with this team, and we're able to play our same style and run over them. Hopefully.
Yeah, I can see your caution when saying these types of things, which I don't know. I guess it might make you cautious about answering what I have to ask next. Would you guys consider, I think it's obvious though, you guys would consider yourselves contenders in the Titan Eternal League, wouldn't you? Oh,
for sure.
So
yeah.
if you guys are going to make the finals from your side of the bracket, I don't know if you guys have looked at the other side of the bracket too intently, but who do you think would actually meet you guys in the final from that side? I think there's Tilt to Baby, I think there's Elysium Lopunny, there is Monkey's Boom. You could have that rematch. What do you guys think?
I would. Oh, you go first.
For me, I think the Firing Squad.
Really?
Yeah, I think they've got underrated ADC in jungle. Like the other teams are okay, but they're all kind of like similar or the same. I don't see a big difference between like the other teams. I think Firing Squad is kind of sleeper in comparison. Not as much respect put on them. I think Tilt the Baby is okay, but they just lost, what is it, KLT, is it? Who was doing a lot of work for them, in my mind.
Oh shoot, KTL's not on that team anymore?
I believe so. Oh, no wait, sorry, Kaz.
Okay.
He got banned, yeah.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah.
Me personally, I don't necessarily think it's at like finals, but if it has to be, I'd want to play against Syndicate Cat Girls. Just because I want to see whether or not Espada's ego is going to carry him to playoffs or into finals.
Did they make playoffs?
I thought they did.
I don't think they did.
Oh my god, they're 5th! No!
Hey, Group A was a big shakeup. Group A was 4 teams that were 4-3, so I could see the confusion.
Yeah.
Or I can understand it at least.
Loki, they tried through so they could play us round 1, and it backfired on them.
Dang, okay, I thought they made it with the series. I was not looking too intensely. My bad. I think, Elysium Low Pony, I definitely would want to run back the most, but I think the Firing Squad could also be a good contender.
Okay, so you guys are in agreement on the Firing Squad. So that is the preview of your playoff bracket. You got your next matchup ahead of you. You're looking ahead to finals, but also making sure to take it one series at a time, as Gawr was very cautious to make sure that you weren't jinxing anything or anything like that. But you guys have had a successful season so far, so hopefully for you guys at least, you guys are able to continue forward and make that regular season worthwhile. Before we close out, do you guys have any shout outs you want to give out? Maybe teammates, family members, whoever you want.
Shout out to all my Summit members. I am not a Malphite player. Please stop telling me to draft Malphite.
You had a good game on Malphite, though. I saw that.
I don't want to play Malphite, bro.
Bro, this guy was not happy the whole game. I can tell you that.
Dude, it did not matter that I was like 7-1-9. It's just freaking Malphite.
I mean, obvious shout outs go to the team that we play with, but in general, coaching staff, people that have helped with coaching, and like everyone that just got the Summit teams together. I think it took like a month and they formed Summit teams in every single league, which is kind of crazy. They put a lot of work in and they've supported us a lot. And also just shout out EU Diff.
EU Diff. I would have said not at first stand, but they ended up getting the win this morning. So yeah, I can't.
Oh my god, you're right. AC won.
Yeah,
Holy.
They did. Well, that's going to do it for this interview. Thank you so much, guys. We're kind of on like the demon hours right now. You guys have busy schedules, but you've made the time to get here for this. So thanks so much for joining me tonight.
No problem. Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah, I appreciate you having us.